All right, we're live. Well,
Welcome back.
welcome back. Welcome to the State of Modern podcast. We're on episode 8, where we go through every year of Modern's history year by year, talk about the tournaments, talk about the cards coming into the format, the bans, and as we go forward, some other sets like Modern Masters, Modern Masters was a big one that
hmm
came in, and Modern Horizons especially. So
hmm
I'm Lucas Greif, and this is
Andrew Marshall.
yeah. So thanks for joining us.
hmm Glad to have us on this journey.
Usually, yeah, usually we start with a little bit of news. So anything hot?
I have not kept up with anything this week. I know Ixalan just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-release was last Friday, right?
Yep.
Did you go to that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. What did you think of the limited format for that?
I like the artifact synergies.
hmm
It's super grindy format. Like I played a little bit of limited on arena,
hmm
and yeah, it was a grind fest. Every game was like, oh man, could we deck each other? But I was playing like a card that tuck cards underneath it, so
Oh, sure.
I kind of managed their graveyard because there's
hmm
a tons of graveyard synergies in this format. Almost every mechanic deals with the graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
I like to see that. It's fun.
Well, there's like the descend mechanic was the big one. Um, Um, what was I thinking off the back of that? Brandon had mentioned me that the craft with
Hmm.
was pretty interesting, like actually a pretty decent mechanic. I don't know what your thoughts were about that.
I love it. I think it's
Yeah.
great. My friend Mason, my friend Alex, and we started to design a magic set years ago. I wish I could say what year it was. It was before 2017, the year that we'll be covering today.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the mechanics was contraptions. So there was that future sight card that talked about contraptions. They finally brought it into Unfinity, I think. One of the
Mm-hmm.
unsets they brought it in and actually fleshed out the mechanic. Craft was exactly that mechanic, the mechanic that we designed.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is we didn't do flip cards. We had cards that came out of your sideboard, like Eldrazi level cards,
Oh,
and
okay.
there was like conditions on the cards that they had. I mean, they had a mana cost, but it was like you can't cast this from your hand type of deal. Things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Um, and honestly, that's not even that great of a card design. I know we were. It's. I'm looking back in retrospect, right on the spot. So it's like we kind of got away from that, and then we moved to like some of the abilities didn't trigger if it wasn't cast from exile stuff or like from the sideboard, things like that. Or
Yeah,
if
just
this
to
wasn't,
disable it in all the other areas where it could be used.
yeah, as they do
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of the Eldrazi spells of like if or this is it's a cast trigger. It's not a ETB trigger to
Mm-hmm.
get away from the shenanigans with Reanimator and things like that because that was some design space we had to work through. But yeah, big fan of the mechanic. I think they tuned it a lot really well. The fact that you can get cards from the graveyard, cards from the battlefield, it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's some big complaints of the mechanics have been confusing in this set. Have you heard that or experienced it?
I once again heard from Brandon that there were just judge calls almost every single round. So.
Yeah, there's one mechanic that's like Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's like Threshold, and it has a different number
Yeah,
for that
this
threshold.
Descend 8 or something like that is the one on the ancient one, the one we were talking about last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then there's another one with D that's close to Descent, and I might be mixing them
This
up.
yeah, it's like
Descendant.
descendant
Yeah.
or something. They're so similar in verbiage though. I That's the one where it's like if a permanent card entered the graveyard this turn. Like it's a if trigger clause.
Yeah. So it's like Revolt, but it has to be a card,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. There's a lot of judge calls on that because you had people doing
Permanent card.
permanent.
Permanent card, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You had people doing tokens, and they go activate my pseudo revolt, and
Mm-hmm.
they go no, you can't. That's not how that works. and then like 3 turns of their limited play just got flushed down the toilet because there's a pretty big misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I think all the mechanics are good. It was there's some gaps there in your intuition and how you kind of usually play these mechanics out. They don't work the same in this format.
I wonder if that's something that could be cause for concern for like future Magic, where cards are just not able to be understood that well by the whole player base. That confusion just becomes a big issue for a lot of players, especially new players. Like, I can't imagine getting into Magic right now with the volume of cards that there are compared to the volume of cards back in 2016, 2017. So, and a lot of them, like you said, the mechanical intensity seems to be higher than it has been in past in some ways.
Yeah,
So
just the level up. Like you have your mechanics, but there's different levels of the mechanic within the mechanic, and that got to be confusing to newer players. Even to me, when I'm playing, I have to read every card and know what it does.
Oh yeah, yeah, and knowing like the difference between where tokens go and they like how do tokens interact when they die, or how like specific, very specific niche intervening clauses or parts of triggers. Like there's just you have to read the cards and do exactly what they say, and then math it out and see if it works the way you want it to. Right? Like seems to be a little bit of magic in some ways.
I love the new design space where you're like never really lacking for card advantage. Like you're never almost in every limited format lately. It's like you don't run out of things to do, and that feels really good as a player because it's like you don't sit there and just top deck land, top deck
draw
land.
Go, draw go.
Those games are super boring, and I mean, hats off to WotC with their limited. I mean, again, some mechanics could use a little bit of tuning, but overall, I like it.
Yeah, especially like it seems like the caves, like you being able to just activate it and discover 4. That seems like a great card in limited.
I kind of brush off the cave mechanic, like just in as a whole, because there are cave synergies. I was wrong. Caves are that cave synergy. Those cave mechanics are a fleshed out mechanic.
Yeah.
Usually, like in deserts and Hour of Devastation, like it was like, okay, yeah, sure, you might get a trigger once in a blue moon.
Right.
No, you're searching out caves. You're activating caves. You're I don't remember all the cards, but things to that extent. And
well, the one that really caught my eye was the one that was it's one mana colorless, or taps for colorless, and then you can pay 1, tap it, sack it to destroy target non-basic land.
Sorry, I forgot to do a pop out chat.
You're good. And it was like, just another Wasteland-esque effect for so cheap. Like 1 mana. That's the closest we've gotten to Wasteland since Tectonic Edge, basically, right? Well, Ghost Quarter, kind of, but
Ghost Quarter, and then you got the Field of Ruin effects, but yeah, it's up there. It's competing,
especially since it not only generates like replaces your opponent's land, but it generates value through a token too. So it's almost better than Ghost Quarter. Close.
Yeah,
it's close.
Is it worth 1 less mana or to not get a basic land for yourself? And when you Field of Ruin, they're non-basic, you're getting that back anyways.
Yeah.
One big thing with Ghost Quarter is it hits basics.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. The other caves seem really strong too. I really like the one that's like copies something in the graveyard. I think it can't remember exactly if it copies a land in the graveyard.
I think it's like Bazuva for cards in graveyards.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems valuable. Potentially, we might see Amulet Titan maybe pick up those in the sideboard or something. Could have some interest in that card potentially, or any land synergy deck. So
yeah, definitely, it's an option on the table,
especially with how predominant land hate could be. So
I was telling our friend Spencer today. I was like, "Oh, great! This sets a reprieve. I don't really feel like I don't feel pressured to actually get anything for modern for this set. Like, like some of the cards you brought up of like the lands and things to that extent. I have
yeah.
my Cavern of Souls.
Oh, the one I was looking at, what just personal favorite, wanted to get some angel cards. The Resplendent Angel getting reprinted. That was pretty huge because that card was like $40 before this reprint.
There was somebody who had three in their limited pool. There were at least two.
Woof.
There were at least two other people who had two in their limited pool.
Woof.
Which is like some of these numbers were crazy.
Yeah.
There's a 5/5 red dragon with first strike in this set. If you untap with that, if you don't win, you are the worst Magic player ever. That card. Oh my god. Exiles two cards. Then you get like creatures based off of if it's a land or non-land, or a treasure based off of that. And you also get to cast those two cards or play them.
Really?
Yes.
Holy shit.
So card advantage, mana advantage, everything.
And it's just a big beefy boy.
Yeah, it's like the new Baneslayer Angel.
Holy
Or what
crap.
I'm calling it. Thing does not fuck around.
Drain Slayer Angel.
Red Slayer.
Red Slayer.
There's a RCQ tomorrow at first turn.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Is that modern?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I got people borrowing cards. People were asking me, "Are you going?" And I'm like, "No." At first, well, I got to work now, but
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't really feel like going to a modern tournament, guys. Like, I haven't played in I think 2-ish months. I've been playing Canadian Highlander and limited.
Yep. I think it's funny that Brandon and I were just playing. I mentioned to you they were playing One Piece. We were playing One Piece earlier today, so it was like we're just looking for something a little bit different right now.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, a lot of some of the formats have gotten a little stale, and modern is definitely. I have not been playing it that much either. So
Okay, so I meant to write something up for this, but I'll go off the cuff of and let's throw out a date of when we think that well, we could look up the next BNR, but I'm gonna throw out a date just off the top of my head, which will be like the beginning of the year, so January something, because I see all these modern lists every year. It's almost there's like a banning or something in January.
yeah.
So I'm gonna guess in January there's gonna be a ban and restricted announcement. There will be a banning in modern, and it will be at least Orcish Bowmaster, if not Orcish Bowmaster in the One Ring. And they will say something to the effect of, based off of it, they're going to play the good guy of like, we're hearing you guys. We've heard your feedback. We understand you don't like the gameplay, and we see that Orcish Bowmaster was really the card that pushed Scam over the edge, and if we remove that card from the pool, the One Ring will dominate, and so we are now banning both cards. And your feedback has really helped motivate this change. So good job, guys, and keep up your positive, good criticism.
Keep up the criticism.
And they might not frame it that hardcore into that, but I'm sure there'll be a sentence or two. And I really wanted to like make up a phony one, like like a photoshopped fake banned and restricted, to see how plausible it was, and like use the like WotC language in it.
I don't know. I would definitely. I could see him shaking something up on January. Like that would be hilarious though. Like it's the balancing thing. They're like, we've seen the data, and if Orcish Warmaster is not present with the One Ring present, it would be too overbearing.
Next ban announcement for 2000 RTG B.
Oh, their schedule.
Yeah,
their schedule.
Hmm.
WotC's new banning schedule.
6 months ago. Yeah, this isn't something I've really specifically looked up. I know people live and die by this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
next bands. May. So this is old.
May 2020. Yeah, that's a really old article.
Wish there was more people in chat who could just tell me. Oh, this isn't it either. I guess we're just guessing.
Yeah, but we've had a band change pretty much every beginning of the year, basically, right?
It seems like it. Oh my god, look at that fucking website.
Why
Dude,
is it so big?
if you're not blind, if you're blind and you need this big a text to read it.
Should be reading.
Ah.
So you don't think the new Galta is too busted for like
I think I'm
Green
sorry.
Elves?
So
We're gonna see
how
some
much does it cost?
Mono Green Elves or something?
9 mana or what is it?
I think it's 7 or something like that. It dumps all the green creatures from your hand into play though, so
I mean,
it's
if you have
like some funny gimmick.
if you have 9 mana, you're already dumping all of the elves into play.
What if someone? What do you? Could you do like a Goryo's Vengeance deck with that? I wonder.
Is it legendary? I bet it
It
is.
is legendary, but if you had all green creatures, you could Goryo's Vengeance, Galta back into play.
Put in your Atraxa.
Mm-hmm. Like slam a bunch of creatures into play off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could get like Progenitus is a green creature.
True. Yeah.
So I just don't know if Galta is a cast trigger or if it's an ETB trigger.
I think it's an ETB trigger.
Yeah. So if you Goryo's Vengeance it with a full hand of huge dudes, that could be something fun.
Yeah. That deck has moved away from the instant speed of Goryo's Vengeance. It's not trying to, well, at least, I could be wrong. There's two
Oh.
builds of it. There's two builds of it.
Abyss Ion says Galta dumps all creatures, not just green. And it's an ETB. So you could Goryo's Vengeance it.
Yes, yeah.
And it dumps all creatures. That's cool.
But you shouldn't have any left in your hand. You should be dumping those in your graveyard to Goryo's Vengeance them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as like,
You could ephemerate. You could play it in the ephemerate pile. Like ephemerate, Goryo's Vengeance, Atraxa, that I don't know.
but why aren't you just going ditch my Atraxa, reanimate my Atraxa?
Because this way you don't have to worry about her going away on the next end step. You just get a bunch of
Okay,
creatures.
no, that's something.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
like you you could even put like not the non-shuffle titans like the Emmerich or Ulamog, the 10 mana one. Reanimate him with Goryo's Vengeance, or even bring him back with Goryo's Vengeance, eat a third of your opponent's library, or just put him into play off of Galta,
Yeah,
and then Crater Hoof.
you're not casting it. Yeah, the Ulamog, I'm not too big of a fan of.
No, yeah, but I just mean like I'm thinking of big
What-
big creatures to dump into play.
What if they just grief your
You're right.
your Goryo's
Fuck.
Vengeance out?
Throw it all out the window. Never mind.
Dude, you
Grief.
just lost.
Yeah, I lost. Grief, solitude, we
Yeah.
lost.
Thanks, Abyssal Ion, for your input there.
Shall we get to the year?
Yeah, I think this would be a pretty quick year. The cards coming into the format aren't that great. It's sad to say, but
You don't think that Aether Revolt's got quite a bit to offer here?
Aether Revolt was it.
Yeah.
The other sets
Oh, okay. Okay.
kind of blow.
Yeah.
So, yep, right off the bat in January, we're seeing Gitaxian Probe and Golgari Grave Troll get banned.
Which I don't even know if we saw that many of Grave Troll in actual tournament stuff.
No, not up until this point. I
Mm.
thought we saw like one time in a top 8
Yeah,
last year.
I think so.
that's what kind of surprises me. Why it's like, why is it getting banned again? Maybe they're afraid that they ban Gataxian Probe, it overruns the format. Okay, so last year there was a ban in January. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around on topics. There's an in
Oh, are you thinking about the
2015.
January bans?
There was a ban in January.
Do we have 14? I think so.
It was
February
February
3rd.
3rd. So
That was pretty close, though.
yeah.
January. January.
I'm calling it right now, boys and girls.
Hearing it now first, folks.
And
January, there's going to be a band shakeup.
September was the earliest one. Man, we really changed our format since the episode 3. Sorry, I didn't want to show all those things on camera. Didn't want to show all my Google Docs. But back to.
So what was the band announcement? Gataxian Probe, Golgari Grave Troll banned, which we kind of saw Gataxian Probe coming. It was very ubiquitous in quite a few decks, especially as just a free spell.
I still thought it had some life to it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. Death Shadow did very well in the year, but you didn't see those 3 of the top 8. Am I remembering that correctly?
Something.
It was
like
like
that.
you'd see 1 in the top 8, maybe 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it did take down at least 1, if not 2, top 8s.
The real deck seemed to be propping it up was like a little bit of infect of course, and then oh my god, I can't think of it. Twin Exarch, the twin combo deck.
Mm-hmm.
Just like every single one wanted to be playing Gataxian Pro, pretty much. So
Kind of. So I remember reading a Todd Anderson article many years ago about Get Probe, and he was off the card at the time. Hopefully I'm remembering this right. Completely put words in his mouth. And it was kind of like, if you're playing these decks, you kind of have an idea. If you're not really like, if you're a good enough player, that extra information isn't really as valuable to you. You should know what you're playing against. You should know what they could have.
mm-hmm.
Is that 2 life really worth just cycling a card in Infect, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of a crutch that a lot of people were riding on. And in fact, I kind of would still almost agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it could go either way, especially, well, I think that the information gained from at least like looking at one's hand from time to time, especially like a turn 1 Gataxian Probe, that you can't, the only thing you can get better out of that is the Thoughtseize, right?
I mean, it can affect your play patterns if you go on your turn 1. Let's say you sit down on your Emperor, you don't know your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing Infect. If you go play my land, Gataxian Probe for life. Now I see you have a damage-based removal spell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hold my Glistener Elf till next turn. Play my Glistener Elf past the
Play like a double or something.
do whatever.
Yeah.
Past the turn, goes to my turn. Play Glistener Elf, and it negates your Lightning Bolt for the rest of the game.
Right.
It does delay you a turn, but
the
you do have that
overall
option
advantage.
now.
Yeah.
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 That's like the only real thing, or if you just completely go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely makes more of a difference in the decks that like either are gonna try to combo off or are have some sort of interaction on a storm count or like a reason to actually play that card. You know, like for example, Arclight Phoenix would fucking love Gataxian.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap! I can't even imagine like a ban no ban list Faithless Looting Arclight Phoenix Gataxian Probe deck.
Do you think Arclight Phoenix would be a real thing in Legacy if it was legal?
Is it not legal?
What's another weird thing about this ban? I can't find the ban and restricted announcement for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
All I could find was the Legacy one.
Damn. I don't. Yeah, I mean that seems very strong, like that combo. So.
Mhm. I'm playing. Uh, I guess tomorrow I'll be playing Arclight Phoenix at FNM
Hmm.
for Legacy, and I love the deck. But you do kind of need like one spell like that Gitaxian Probe to really
Yeah.
justify it.
Right.
Right. Yeah, right away we get Ether Revolt. And this one, it felt like every other card I was typing out, and I was like, jeez, 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 God, thought this was gonna be easy night.
This set was a banger, absolute banger. Absolutely loved Aether Revolt, everything about it. I love the revolt mechanic was awesome. I thought it was like perfectly designed.
Mhm.
It was super interesting. You had tons of different ways to trigger it throughout the set. Obviously, the setting of Kaladesh was just awesome, gorgeous set, and the card quality was insane. Like you just had all these bombs like right off the bat. The biggest one, everyone was. I remember all the hype around this card. As soon as it was announced, everyone's like, "Holy shit, this thing's amazing! This is what every black deck wants." Fatal Push,
Yeah, it was
Fatal Push.
$10 uncommon right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was cracking Ether Revolt packs for that card, not the rares, not the
Yeah,
mythics. It was for Fatal Push.
yeah.
Um, I remember when they like the print run was drying up and they had it and they started cutting people off
Mm-hmm.
for prize packs.
Yeah.
Um, Fatal Pushes. It was we don't we didn't get a lot of new removal like viable removal spells.
Mm.
Like Lightning Bolt, Path to Exile, Dismember.
Those have all been around.
Those from the beginning.
Yeah.
And so we're finally getting like a very good removal spell. And nowadays it gets played. It's not like the greatest card in the world. It gets played more in Path to Exile.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. Um, people hyped it up a lot, probably because of like the Zoo days. If we had that back in Zoo, Zoo would not have been as big of an issue. Jun would have just crushed it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the difference in just being able to have the one mana removal, like even on conditional revolt like that with fetch lands, it slips amazingly into modern. It just was like such a push for a removal card. I remember it just like it definitely helped. I think it helped the format a lot. I think it kind of balanced things out a lot between the colored pies, especially.
Would excuse me. Got a call. Would you say that Fatal Push was designed for modern? Like this is the era of cards they start designing for modern with the intention of we want this to influence modern.
I think so because I remember it was good in standard, but it wasn't like as good as it was in modern. Because in modern, it's like every time I had a fatal push and I had a fetch up, I felt amazing. I was just like, yeah, get rid of your thing, you know. Or the early game conditional removal of being able to just get rid of like an opponent's, you know, mana dork or something like that. It was excellently designed
You're
for modern.
you're almost always up on mana.
Yep.
And it's yeah, it the condition range and like how it grows and shrinks and then its cap
Hmm.
are really well designed. It hits the 2 mana slot, which is very important in modern. Almost every deck revolves around that. It came in at a point where like Splitter Twin, that 3 mana slot wasn't as important. So it was kind of like it was there, but
Hmm.
it those times had already faded away.
Yeah, and the way that it was conditioned was really excellent because I feel like it helped zone modern out of like a really fast paced format. Like it was like, okay, here's the conditional removal to deal with these first couple early turns, and then from there on out, it kind of falls off, right? Because
Mhm.
like you get into a late game and someone's got a big ass creature on the board, you know, a higher CMC than Fatal Push can even touch. You're just like, well, this is dead now. But it really, 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 really is really strong in the early game. Very, very strong.
I'm sure they. If I was working at WotC and I looked at Legacy and saw Modern eventually evolving into Legacy, you see that the lower the mana cost, usually the higher the power level, the more likely it is to get played.
Mhm.
And so this card rewards that, and it's not like Lightning Bolt, which was the most ubiquitous removal spell in the format at the time.
Mhm.
It's not based off of power or a toughness check. Uh, and so Infect, Death Shadow, a lot of the term, especially Termagoyf,
Oh yeah,
it hits all of these cards that otherwise get around it, include Arcbound Ravager is another big one.
Zoo,
Mm-hmm.
Zoo card, any of the Zoo cards. What's the new one? The domain one. I have like a million
Oh
copies
yeah,
of them.
the Kavu.
Yeah, Territorial Kavu.
I
Yep.
love that card too.
But yeah, the cards like that where they're in the CMC range, but they're not in the toughness range. It's a different kind of a different check.
Oh,
I don't know about crap about Modern, but I'm super excited to play Galta on Commander. Yeah, yeah. I think we got a buddy, Noah Matthews. He's out in the military stuff right now, but he was super super excited for the new Galta.
that's a cool card.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a few of those. Um, there's like the God. I forget what it does, but it is really good. It like if it connects, you search that many cards. Like for how many damage you search that many cards, and then you put a creature into play.
Oh, it's like the green one, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe? Yeah.
is that how it plays? Because that's
I don't
insane.
know. I haven't read the game.
That one's pretty scary.
Yeah, they all have like really really strong conditional effects on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, which in the fact that they flip into these lands that you can just turn it right back into the god again is honestly pretty sweet design. I like it. It's pretty cool.
I the blue god I think is really cool. The black bat god's really cool.
Mm.
That green god's really cool. Usually I kind of poo poo like whatever those cards. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Even with the newest Praetors, I was kind of okay. We've done this before. Like sure it's fun a little bit. They did some of them like twice. Actually, all of them twice.
Yeah, they had like each one of them in a standout in their own set because it was like, oh god, I can't remember. Oh, Vorinclex was first in Kaldheim, and then it was Urbrask in New Capenna, and then Children and Dominaria United,
Okay.
and then Elishnorn and March of the Machines, or no, in Phyrexia.
You're missing.
No, Jin Gitaxis
yeah.
in Kamigawa.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
All V1.
All the standout ones, and then they
Or-
had March of the Machines all at once.
Elishnorn was all V1.
Yep, yep. And that might be one of my favorite cards released in that set.
Which one?
The Elishnorn.
the
It's insane. It's insane. Panharmonicon on my side, nothing on your side.
EDH players will love it forever. I'm still in search of a one for my modern collection, so hit me up if you want to trade it.
You don't even have one?
I don't have a single one.
Holy shit. I pulled one for my like second pack I opened. I was like, I'm done. I don't have to open anything else.
I thought about playing the like for my prize packs. I kept opening the March of the Machine. The small packs, the like 4-card booster packs or whatever.
Yeah.
I was playing the Nissa lottery is what I call it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
every day I was like, we're doing this
Aftermath.
until we got Nissas. Yeah.
Yeah, those never worked out for me. I was always disappointed. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I winning these?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Actually, I did pretty good with the packs.
Yeah.
Cards have come down a little bit since then though.
Yeah.
But let's get back to modern.
Yeah, let's keep pushing through it.
Talking about the glory of Fatal Push.
Fatal Push was amazing. I mean,
it's kind of aged out now.
yes, I agree. I think that the creatures and the creature removal have just gotten better than it. And it doesn't cover enough conditions anymore. So
We're starting to see cards like the Gurmag Angler, Tassiger, Murktide Regent in current Magic, where I get the feeling that they're trying to using workarounds with mana cost. They're giving like conditions to make it cheaper. So it's not like Fatal Push hits every single card in Modern. Fatal Push hits every single card in Legacy. You get some warped kind of power levels of removal based off of that, where it's just like, well, I can't play. You can't play Abrupt Decay anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of pointless because the biggest threat you need to hit with your single spot removal that's for 2 mana, you can't hit.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of that where they play around with the mana cost not only being just the cost of your mana, your actual mana, but other resources, whether that be life or graveyard resources or library resources somehow in some way.
And then recently Prismatic Ending. There's been a lot of white removal that's pushed Fatal Push out. It's like, why would you play black when you can play white?
The white removal is insane. Like I can't stress enough that every time I played like I built like a mono white commander deck or a mono white Canlander, when it's just death and taxes and removal, I don't feel like I can lose because I'm half the time I'm just drawing the best removal in the game over and over and over again. So, but yeah, the prismatic stuff is really, especially with like the multicolor stuff, is just it's so easy to get 5 lands on the field and just annihilate someone's creatures with Leyline Bindings and Prismatic Endings.
That's the one. I couldn't think of the name. But yeah. Reward you for playing crazy base. We probably hop on the next card, Walking Ballista. You see it in every single format. It's the infinite mana combo sync. It is an excellent card to slow down like an aggressive opponent. It is amazing just as a late game beater. It's
a counter synergy, artifact synergy, infinite combo synergy. It's colorless. It's got X so you can cast it for 0 if you need to. Just for casting a spell to get Storm Count. You could Storm Count Walking Ballista for 0 in a Storm deck if you wanted to.
I was doing that the other day.
Oh yeah,
with my Canadian Highlander deck.
Oh really?
I had a card that got a 1/1 counter every time I cast an artifact and an Emery on the field. Could not cast it because I couldn't play the mana.
Yeah.
So I was cast it for 0, pump my dude, activate Emery, cast it again, had another counter, then I could attack.
That's hilarious.
So your situation is pretty realistic.
Yeah, that's great. And then with this activated ability, like I've had a lot of times, I remember playing in Devoted Druid where I'd play it for 1 and it would sit there and get around a full turn. I'd get my infinite combo off and just kill him.
Yeah. I'm surprised they printed that card.
Yes. That was definitely, a huge card. Even back when the set released, I remember where I was like, I need to get 4 of these. So it took me a while to get them, but I've got them now.
I do not think they would print that card as it is. I think either it'd be like, oh, you can activate this once per turn, or I wish you could print something that had somewhat of an effect that, like, if this is targeted by a spell, you can no longer activate this ability this turn. So you can't just, oh, okay, you're gonna lightning bolt it. Oh, lightning bolt you back. You just get these like huge 2-for-1s or 3-for-1s, or put you in the opponent in really awkward board states where they like have to kill it not to die. But if they kill it, they're practically just gonna lose the game based off of statistics at that point.
Right. Yeah, it's great. Like the design with the activated abilities too is so interesting. Like how much you can play around with. Like, okay, I'm gonna remove 2 counters. Those resolve. Okay. Now I'm gonna remove another counter. Those resolve. All right. That the back and forth that you can kind of do with it getting bolted or destroyed or something like that. So
that little game within the game on that is pretty fun.
Yes.
You got. I remember seeing that with like Wandering Fumarole. Did you ever play with that land?
I did not the combo.
No, it's
that.
It's a creature land. It's a blue-red one, and for like 4 mana, you make it into a 1/4, and then for 0 mana, you turn it. You switch its power and toughness. But if they put a card on the stack and you switch it, just like the way it all resolves, it's always gonna die to that removal spell. And so like there's a are you aren't you situation with that activated ability.
Yeah.
Some other like lower level players, Metallic Rebuke, Feldon Guardian, Heroic Intervention, Metallic Mimic, Whining Constrictor. So you see like a good shell of the Hardened Scales list from this set.
Yeah, they're kind of stressing the artifact counters deck, kind of pushing Affinity away from cost based to counter based a little bit.
The Whirl of Invention is a big player in this year.
Yep.
Spire of Industry is big.
Yes. Paradox Engine, that hasn't seen, and that's still legal in Modern, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a wild card. I kind of just threw it on there. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure it has Scram. You had the Cheerios deck. Couldn't exist without that card.
Scram.
Oh, Saram. Yeah, thank you.
Scrambled eggs.
And then a big player here, Indomitable Creativity.
Yep. Would not see years. I had this card sitting in like a dirt binder. I had this binder that I started when I was a younger Magic collector, and it was my dirt binder eventually. And I threw it all the way to the bottom of my collection, and because I wanted to see what those cards did if I left them there. I wanted to know whether or not my trade gambles paid off or not. And Indomitable Creativity was in there, and it spiked up to like $20 like a year or two ago, and I was just like, I gotta go find that fucking binder.
Gotta get rid of that.
Yeah.
Man. We had, I think, at least 10 copies of it, including at least one foil copy in the Battlezone collection.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'll off these for $15 a piece or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
So that's there's almost $200 worth of Indomitable Creativities.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm shocked that card didn't get played sooner. I looked at that and I was like, this card's really good. It's like one of those moments that I regret not going, I should buy 10 of these.
It didn't hit until the Dwarven Mine really came into play.
Yes, because once you could get tokens efficiently, once we realized tokens, tokens were the deal to get the creativity off. But
you didn't really have treasure up until fairly recently. They slowly escalated that mechanic.
Yeah.
And then the Dwarven being able to fetch that out and trigger it off of that is critical, especially at that Splitter Twin mana cost.
Yeah.
That's what's always killed me is like, okay guys, come on. Like, do you not see this?
Yeah. And then recently Fable of the Mirror Breaker too.
Yep.
And that definitely introduced a lot to the deck as well. So
it's weird how the format has gone from that was just like the best deck in Modern, and then Lord of the Rings came out, and now it's not viable. It's gone.
Yeah.
You gotta ask yourself, was Scam the best deck at that point, and the people weren't playing it enough? Or did Orcish Bowmasters push it over the edge? I really don't see Orcish Bowmasters pushing it over the edge against that deck.
Do you remember when MH2 released, I think like maybe a week or two afterwards, there were people playing a lot of the black-red scam-esque decks. They weren't trying to scam yet. They didn't have the scam cards in there, but they were playing Ragavon and the Elementals and Dwathy Voidwalker, and like those cards.
Like black red mid range almost.
Yeah, I remember that deck was huge for about 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe longer after Modern MH2 release, because everyone's like, all these black red cards go together.
They're just good.
Like that. Yeah. So maybe the deck did exist in some capacity even back then. So.
Yeah, I remember playing. Well, I didn't play some of the earlier versions with Ephemerate, and then there's the enchantment from Kamigawa's like an O-ring that also had another channel effect.
Yeah, Touch the Spirit Realm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those were like the earliest versions of that flickering effect that I remember. But yeah, no, I don't have a specific memory, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. That black red deck.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we're at creativity.
Indomitable creativity. So it was like, oh, I kind of want to touch of like, so we were all pushing for a ban in that deck. That deck didn't play any of the free magic.
Yep.
It didn't play any of these broken cards that we're now complaining about.
I actually think that deck was when I saw that deck play out in person, I thought the deck was fair as hell. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is totally fair. I'd play against this deck any day of the week compared to a scam. Yeah. Honestly. I thought it was crazy that people wanted bans for it.
It's removal, maybe some discard, and then like
the combo in
Ren and 6. Yeah.
Like it's just as fair as half the other decks in the format. So
yeah, the win rate was pretty high. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was getting to the point where I was like, okay, kind of rolling my eyes about it, but you're right. It wasn't the worst place to be. The play pattern isn't as, in my opinion, the play pattern is definitely not as bad as griefing people out.
Yeah.
But cheating in that creature is, so you're trying, like, in order to race them, you have to have creatures, which the card that they're cheating into play inherently deters that gameplay. So it's kind of like when your opponent plays a Liliana of the Veil, ticks it up while you have no board state. You play a creature, it's ticking down. You play that other creature to try and kill it, it's ticking down.
Yeah.
So once you get to a certain point with that card resolving, it snowballs so hard that it's hard to overcome it.
Oh yeah.
You have to have a removal spell.
Yep.
Which they did. I mean, they printed you one with the red version of Fatal Push or whatever. Oh, Fatal Push doesn't hit it, but Unholy Heat.
Yeah. Yeah. That was huge. I mean, well, MH1 and MH2. We could talk about those another day.
Yeah, no, I kind of Brawl
is actually huge right now in this point in time because of Storm, and was there another deck that played a lot of this?
Not really.
No,
it was Storm.
Storm got this card. Storm was happy with this card, very much so.
Gifts Ungiven Storm,
yes,
came to fruition from the backs of Brawl.
Yep.
Consulate Dreadnought. Do you know what that card is?
I recognize the name, but it's been so long.
It's a 1 mana 7/11.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Vehicle.
Do you know what it cruise for?
Cruise for like. No, I don't actually. Maybe.
I think it's 6.
5, 6.
So I had these. I was going through my collection. I'm like, how the fuck? I remember somehow you played on 1, and then on turn 2 you're swinging with it.
Yeah.
So it's like. It's pretty powerful card.
Oh,
I can't remember what
there was probably something. There was either something that made an artifact into a creature, or it had to be something that turned a vehicle into a creature.
Because I was thinking it was like it was affinity, like a hard affinity, where you're going like a Frogmite Myr Enforcer, smash you with this bad boy.
Yeah, I have never seen this. Well. I just don't
comment down below if you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, figure out the back half of this combo for us, because like I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Scrap Trawler, huge one for KCI.
Yeah.
So we'll see that one come up in a couple of years.
Yes. So this year in Magic, this was a big year. This is one of my favorite years of Magic ever.
Yeah.
Friend Steve Locke, he won, I think, one if not 2 Grand Prix this year.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a few Grand Prix with some friends, loved doing that. I think I won my first or a PPTQ at the time during this time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the best standard format, but it was, I don't know. There's a lot of fond memories of like driving to tournaments with my friend Mason and talking and then just in having a very steady progression in my gameplay and my tournament results through like gameplay, like just learning the format, I went in the first turn and I was like, I'm gonna take standard seriously. I went in and I did spend some money, bought a standard deck. It was only a few $100, and then 4 tournaments later, is like I completely did horrible, but I played every game, got a little bit better, was on the edge of top eight, won it,
Yeah.
and it was just like you could see this progression, and I was just like, man, like
Yeah.
this was very rewarding.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah.
But
I feel similarly about this year. I mean, this was the year with Aether Revolt coming out and the sets after this. I got into, you guys got me into Teamer Energy, and that was my first like 75 deck I ever got together. I remember I was so excited when I had all 75 cards together. I was just like wanted to play it all the damn time. But the progression of skill and just learning how to play the game, like I just learned so much in this year of playing Magic. So this was probably my first year of where I really got a feel for the competitive sense and how far you can go in the game, like what you can do if you improve your skill in Magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull this card out. So it was a tournament. It's a standard tournament this year that Steve Locke won, and another guy from the area, he top eighted as well. Earlier, I think it was this year, another one of my friends, Tyler, top eighted a tournament, and I remember telling my friend Wyatt Darby at the Grand Prix, I was like, man, dude, people from Iowa are really doing good. I was like, this might be one of the like best groups, and he's like, no, there's another time where there was like people who were like consistently doing very well. And that doesn't really include Josh McClain, but Josh McClain he's got a lot of good Grand Prix finishes.
Oh yeah.
And then a few months later, I think it was, or not too much longer, Wyatt won a pro tour. And I remember I texted him and I was just like, hey, remember me telling you that? Thanks for proving me right, bud.
Oh my gosh. I want to get a Gory Bringer signed by him still.
Yeah. I haven't talked to him much, like, at all, because I stopped going to tournaments, and honestly, once he won the pro tour, he was pretty locked in. And I just remember, like, him and our friend Tyler grinding out, like, like silver and gold the pro levels, and just like the freaking slog of that shit.
Just
and I was like
grinding.
I was like, I have no hope for that. I can't even relate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got like these pro points now matter to me, and that just shift of your gameplay of going to Grand Prix, being a schlub in the freaking seats, to go getting pro points, and then it's like, well, if I get 2 more pro points or whatever, I get this benefit, and it's like I get more buys, like, and it just slowly starts to steamroll you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it was cool to see Wyatt like fully get to live that life. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, just a lot of random crap after that just is what it is.
Yeah, but quite a few bangers in this set. Very, very good set for Modern.
Let's hit our first tournament of the year. It's the Pro Tour, baby.
February 2nd. We have... Wow, I did not expect that. First place, Lantern Control.
I haven't watched any of this.
No, I haven't either.
I've been slacking.
Oh, God, this looks like such a fun format to fight in, though.
Well, Lantern Control being the first place?
No, the rest of it.
Okay.
I think Lantern Control's still fine in this format. I think it was a fine deck at the time. So, I mean, this is pretty much what we see out of the list forever, right? Like, this is the rundown. Codex Shredders was the big thing that was added to this deck this year.
It was already getting some top 8s and Grand Prix, but it pushed it to a first place win.
Yeah.
This deck doesn't exist really anymore because of the ban of Mox Opal. You can't dump your hand as fast.
Yep.
Because it's a 0-mana artifact, and you can't spend mana as efficiently without it. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think anybody really misses it.
Not really.
Yeah.
The play pattern sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But it was I will admit it was a fantastic brainchild of a deck. I like the idea of the deck itself is super cool and interesting. Awful to play with. Really, like the sit down play experience sucks with land control.
It was brutal. I think we talked about it last episode of like that usually you're like, what are the cards I want to draw versus this deck goes, what are the cards I don't want my opponent to draw? Yeah. And it's a flip of that paradigm, and it's kind of the first time you really exercise that to the fullest. It was cool. Maybe to see that again come up might be like a good. It's cool to every so often see like these weird things pop up. You learn new skills. You learn new ways of looking at the game.
Yeah.
Even KCI Ironworks, that was another one. It shouldn't. It's like it should die really quick, but it's cool to see these interactions and learn these really in-depth parts of the game.
Yeah. And learn that there's like little bugs in the system, basically.
Yeah. Now this is a great place for Modern to be.
Yeah.
Mardu Pyromancer.
I'm really excited to see this like right off the bat at the beginning of this year. I remember fighting this almost as exact deck list, like half of the year this year in Modern. Lots of lightning bolt, lingering souls, faithless looting. This has got 4 Bedlam Revelers and 4 Young Pyromancers. That was the big creature layout. I'm trying to remember if there was other creatures they played. Like I remember seeing some Bobs. Just other different random stuff here and there.
I don't remember the deck going super hard on the Bedlam Reveler for very super long, but I could be wrong. My memory of this time of Modern is pretty vague. I'm just kind of whiffing on a lot of it, but this deck is, I think, completely fair. I think if this was the power level of Modern, I'd be really happy. I wish a deck like this existed in Pioneer.
Yeah,
it was viable in Pioneer.
Yeah, so I think about this power level. I think the decks in Pioneer are just a little too weak.
Too weak or too strong?
I don't know. I can't say right now. Actually, I can't say because I haven't played Pioneer recently. So, but yeah,
Jared T getting the second place. There's a lot of people I knew who were rooting for him.
Yeah, the play pattern of this deck was super interesting. You know, lots of denial of resource and just like dump little creatures on the field and try to win through overwhelming poor presence.
Very aristocratic kind of feel to the deck.
Yes. Lots of like, I'm going to put these in the graveyard. I'm just going to throw all my shit to the graveyard and then dig it back out later.
I will go down in card advantage now to get it back later. Yeah. Talk about going down in card disadvantage.
Yeah. Hollow One. So this spawned out of Amonkhet introducing the creature Hollow One. Costs 2 less to cast.
Hour of Devastation.
Or hour. Yeah.
Wait a second. Something's not right here.
Yeah, the right timelines here.
Yeah.
February 2018. Oh, this is Pro Tour Rival of Ixalan.
What?
Rival of Ixalan came out after Hour of Devastation.
Completely botched that one.
Was there a tournament post Amonkhet? Or Aethervolt? Pro Tour Aethervolt?
I'm like, so Pro Tour Aether Revolt, Pro Tour
Amonkhet.
Wow, I botched this one. Is there even? Hour. Either way, the cards that were getting put into this format this year affect that.
Yeah, I was
standard again.
Seemed like a little bit of a jump. I remember Mardu Pyromancer existing, but I was like, wait, this seems like way too
They were
quick.
all standard.
Oh,
There wasn't a modern pro tour that year.
wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I'm sorry I completely screwed that up, and we just talked about a tournament for next week. Let's do myself a favor and delete that. All right.
So then,
Spoiler alert.
no Pro Tours this year,
Yeah.
but we do have Grand Prix.
First one. Death Shadow.
Death Shadow, first place. This is playing for Traverse to Uvenwald. So
Okay, thank God it's not playing Gitaxian Pro. I was like, did I fuck this whole thing up?
I don't remember there being a lot of Goyf Death Shadow around when I was playing Death Shadow. So this is earlier than when I played.
Yeah, let's compare these lists. So, you got Gitaxian Pro ban,
And that was the Josh Utter-Layton list.
and it looks like all three of these big wigs are playing it. So Josh Utter-Layton, big pro, Hall of Famer, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Thompson, big pro, if not a Hall of Famer. Sam Black, same situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both of those names, in my opinion, should be both on the Hall of Fame. All playing the same deck list. I mean, this kind of looks like the deck to play.
Yeah. Liliana's in the main board seems a little mid-rangey compared to what I remember. But this list is pretty good.
The Traverse build.
A lot of these cards still persisted almost up until that end of where Death Shadow starts to become blue-black.
I'm trying to remember where the Traverse drops off. What was the switch on that? The Paradox.
Well, I remember it being played a lot, especially when the Rock got back in. People were like looking at blue-green or black-green again because you could play Assassin's Trophy in the deck list with Uvenwald and Abrupt Decay and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, maybe it was, I don't really know, what was the big shift. It must have had something to do with Graveyard Synergies. Some issue there with the Traverse the Uvenwald in Tarmogoyf. Well, I think the deck dropped the green for a little while.
Yeah, because they're doing Goyf instead of Gurmag Angler.
Mm-hmm.
Almost slot for slot. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see it evolve within the year, and then we can target it a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
Merfolk still doing well. I had no recollection of Merfolk doing any form of like if it got one Grand Prix top 8 in the history of Modern, I would have been like, okay, that's about what I expected.
Yeah. The beta tournament I went to in Vegas for Magic 30th.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? Nikachu. He was in the beta draft playing Merfolk. He got to the beta draft playing Merfolk.
Wow. It's better be lucky than skilled,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
Abzan Company. Did you play this build?
Not quite, because this doesn't have the Devoted Druids yet.
I played a good amount of this build, minus the Archangel of Thune. I love playing this kind of deck.
Yeah. This is all the whole list right before.
I'd had it for a little while. Affinity, still rocking and rolling. John Stern, good player.
Mm-hmm.
Burn, we really saw it get almost to its final form here.
Yeah. Now it has the Fastlands, right?
Yes, it's got Fastlands. It also has Monastery Swift Spear, and it just kind of rounded itself out. And you see one or two slots get moved around up till today.
Yep.
Some Death and Taxes list.
Interesting.
Playing Shining Shoal.
Okay.
I thought when that card recently popped up, I thought that was like the first appearance of that card. That's cool.
It's good to see that it's actually saw some other play besides what it does now. That's interesting. So they're probably using it as like a solid counter to stuff like Death Shadow. They're trying to, at least. but they don't have huge pitch targets. They don't have like the Amira's call.
True.
So, which that made a
That
big
would have been
difference.
huge against Death Shadow.
Yeah.
That would have been brutality.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a lot more tools to fight Death Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
They've done the best job they could to push that deck out of the format.
Yeah.
And then so here's another tournament, same weekend.
Same day. Same day.
All right, Lantern Control.
So this is almost the exact same list minus the Whirs that we saw in the list a year later. So, I mean, okay, Dredge. So this is where we get to see Dredge a little bit.
Yeah, two in the top 8. What happened? What happened to Death Shadow? It's like there's wanes in and out for this format. I mean, this is other than the top decks being Dredge and Lantern Control, it's not the worst top 8. It's diverse at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, only 2 Dredge decks. That's pretty good. Especially post ban. I can't imagine what the lists look like. What they would look like without the ban.
I feel like Lantern Control had an insane conversion rate. You can't imagine there's a bunch of people playing it. And
no, probably
like
not.
how well it's done in a lot of these tournaments.
The deck's not cheap either, especially at that time. It was like
Snaring Bridges or
fast lands and snare bridges, mox opals, all these artifacts. So all the colorless stuff.
Yeah, Dredge didn't do that well, and now we're seeing it come back and actually perform.
People realized Prize Amalgam was the card they needed, and that's what got it.
Oh, black green.
Playing Collective Brutalities. Everyone's playing Collective Brutality at this point.
Let's see this control
okay,
list.
So this is the Nahiri control list I was talking about with Emrakul.
Yeah, this is more of those mono red decks from Legacy where you're ramping into I hope I win the game card like Blood Moon or Trinisphere or Chalice of the Void. Chalice would be really good in this this Lantern Control Death Shadow list or format.
Stick it on one. Just stick it on one and that's it.
Yeah. I'm guessing they thought the Gitaxian Probe banning hurt Infect more than it really did. That's why we're not seeing it yet.
What's that Absent list? That's like the
it's
Grim
the
Flare?
Range.
Okay. Yeah, Dark Confidant.
We saw a lot of this last week. They're playing Our Girl, one of our favorite cards. Collectively one of our favorite cards. So a month later in March, this is a team unified modern tournament.
Okay.
I didn't look up the rules on how this all works. I'm guessing you had to have you could only have a play set of the card within your team.
That's the first thing that comes up to me. Yeah.
Between the 3 players, you got 4 bolts. Between the 3 players, you got
4 Vault Scourges,
yes.
4 Galvanic Blasts. You can only have 4 of those.
So it's like the classic split up was Burn, Affinity, and something else. I remember doing that with like D-Lo and Sean back in the day.
I was like, oh, but I can't play Path. Okay, well, you're going to play this deck instead.
What do we got? But the Affinity and Burn were like the easiest to slot in. Gregory Orange coming back, showing up again. He's a pro now.
So our first place, 3 of them were Affinity, Jund, and Blue-White Control, which is pretty cool to see. I would say this is a pretty healthy format, just judging from the first couple of lists on the top 5 here.
I really like seeing this Jund list. It seems like very clean, like classic Jund list, great power level. The Blue-White Control list he got pretty lucky on his seeding a bunch of rounds, I bet, because it was a little bit slower of a list. A little heavier on mana.
I mean, the 2 Supreme Verdicts is pretty huge main board. Looks like there's quite a bit of creature removal at least.
Condemn.
Yeah, 3 condemn, 4 paths. I remember running a list very similar to this. Besides the planeswalkers, were the big difference. Now we have the 5-man fairy, and I think we had Mind Sculptor even then at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was just like, this list is great with visions and Snapcaster Mage and paths. It was so much fun.
That's really cool to see. Then the next team: Reed Duke, William Jensen, and Owen Turnwall. You guys know all of those names, or should. These are some of the best players of Magic ever.
Yeah.
Death Shadow,
Reed Duke,
Eldrazi-tron. Is this the first appearance of Eldrazi-tron in like a top 8?
I think so. With the Tron lands, I think so. First time we see it in colorless Tron. So this is really interesting because this predates, like, it really became good when the Great Creator came out.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Yeah, because that was like real resurgence on Eldrazi-tron.
He's playing the Walking Ballista. So the Walking Ballista, yeah, I mean,
yeah, they were just like, what if we cut this crap we're doing at this high CMC and play all these really good Eldrazi that were crushing a year ago.
Owen Turnwall was playing some control list the last season. The Counter Squalls, those were another one of those uncommons that spiked to $5-10 and you just couldn't find them.
Yeah,
they just didn't exist. I remember trying to hunt down my group of them. This list, man, this is so cool.
Yeah,
Snapcasters, Tassigers, Kolaghan's Command, Cryptic Command. This, I could play this deck all day, every day, and love it. Blue Moon coming out. These decks are way more varied than I thought they were going to be. I thought it would be the Affinity Burn something else, but
yeah,
they mix these decks up very impressively.
Yeah, and I mean, there's huge variances across, like, just the decks we've looked at so far. 7 deck lists. I think we've had one deck that's had some duplicates in it, like the Ancestral Visions type build. We see that in Blue-White Control, and then maybe a little bit in Grixis Control with like Serum Visions and stuff like that. The card draw being similar, but besides that, like, you have a different shell of a deck, tons of different spells interacting, like Counter Squall, Kolaghan's Command versus Remand, and Is It Charm, Madcap. This one's playing Madcap Experiment Platinum Empyrean combo. I did not notice that.
Dark Dwellers, baby. Let's go. Love that card, but it was not good.
Yeah. The variance is really high, and it's awesome to see.
Collected Bant. Let's look at this. Oh, Retreat to Core Home. Let's move on.
Retreat combo.
Eli coming in with that deck. Oh, man. You fucking got me. I didn't. That's not.
I'm kind of curious if these Death Shadow lists do Grixis at all. Or if all of them are. Oh, no.
Okay, so let's go down the list. Reed Duke. Traverse. So he's doing it right, man.
Traverse Goyf.
Anybody else would be doing it wrong. Traverse
Goyf.
Chris Pikula. That's my boy.
Oh, here we go. That's what I was looking for. This looks like almost exactly the list that I would have ran. Like, this might have been my first build list. Pretty close. Besides, no Tassigers.
So Stubborn Now, Serum Visions are the big Thought Scour.
Yeah.
To fuel the Tassiger Gurmogs.
Thought Seizes. Get the life removal in there. Death Shadow, Gurmags, the snaps. I think they cut down on snaps and went up on Gurmags at one point.
The criticism I have against this deck versus the Traverse build, playing the Termagoyfs are going to get bigger than your Delve creatures. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. And then they couldn't really figure out the Gurmogs is where you want to be.
Yeah.
At least.
Playing a full 4 of the Delve creatures at least. But yeah, that build is very similar to what I built when I was playing Death Shadow.
Again, I don't remember watching this, but I guarantee you, when I was watching this, I was rooting for Chris Bakula the entire time. This might have been when he was making a push for the Pro Tour Hall of Fame again.
Oh yeah,
because they were about to raise how many points you needed in order to get into the Pro Tour, and he was right at that cusp.
Oh shit.
And there's been some history where a lot of people didn't like him because he would call out cheaters and shit like that, and so people who were in the Hall of Fame who were voting got called out, and so they were like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah,
he's not getting on the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and so he was plagued by that, and honestly, like, he's a great player. He's a very important person for the game, and it's a shame. I don't know if he's on it if he got there, but if he's not, it is a fucking blemish on the Hall of Fame, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Valakut getting a little play. Oh, sorry, we had one more Death Shadow list, and it was Traverse.
Yeah.
But I want to see these Eldrazi aggro decks to see if they were
also.
Nope.
And... that one's a colored. Yeah.
Colored.
Nope. Also colored.
Yeah. So I mean, this was Team Peach Garden Oath. Yeah. Have you ever heard of that one?
Mm-mm.
It was a card. It's like a 1-mana white card where there's like 3 guys with like presents or shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And yeah.
That's pretty
It's a shame that the team kind of got broken up, but William Jensen is now the head of organized play at Wizards of the Coast, which I'm happy he's in that role. I like when he talked about the push for standard. I was excited for that. A lot of the things that he brings to the forefront, I'm excited. I just really hope that they follow through on them and really see the fruition of those campaigns. You know,
I mean, it's always nice to see when a player like takes the incentive to want to be part of the card designing process.
Amonkhet, not as big as you'd think. Soulscar Mage, big fan of that card. It's not that big of a player in Modern.
The only interaction I can think of when I think of Soulscar Mage is Vizier Remedies and Lava Dart.
Yo, fuck yourself. Yeah, Andrew got me once.
I got D-Lo on that one once too.
Yeah.
He looked at it. He like pulls out the Lava Dart. He goes to do it, and he's like reads it again. He's like, so does this counter the? And I was like, yeah, it works the way you think it does. And he's like, okay. But yeah, Soulscar Mage, Vizier Remedies, and a Lava Dart. The Lava Dart does no damage.
Yeah, I heard recently that they're doing less and less of -1/-1 counters because newer players don't understand how
to subtract.
They don't understand how to counter the that they dissolve each other, like they counteract each other and you go bye-bye. And so
That's
you have
silly.
I'm guessing you have fucking commander tables with like, this is my pile 1/1 +1/+1. This is my pile of -1/-1 counters, and it's like, put it on a fucking sheet or something. I don't know. Like, tell them, like, instead of just completely removing that aspect of the
So
game.
then you have to do the math. Okay, I've got 13 +1/+1 counters. I've got 11 -1/-1 counters. So it's a 2/2.
Checks its DPS effects on a certain layer. That it when you get to that level, there are some intricacies to that are very weird.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're playing at that level, if you don't even know that's a concept to counteract each other and they just disappear, it's like, do you really fucking need to know the rules to that extent to enjoy or play the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else on this list stands out to you?
I Hapatra recently. Hapatra Vizier and Poisons has had a lot of play in Yawgmoth decks in the current Modern that we're in right now. So at least as a one-off, I know that. The cycling creatures out of this set were honestly really huge for Living End.
Yeah. I think it's like the first time we see cycling since the original ones from Alara. And And those ones, I mean, they made the living end deck work, but these were strict upgrades.
Yes, 100%. Especially with stuff like Curator Mysteries is on there. The one that you get the I think it's like if it's in your opening hand, you get to scry 3 or something like that. Or
That's a different card.
oh, okay. I thought there was one that's like maybe
It's
I'm not sure.
it's a it was just like efficiently costed on both ends. You cycle it for a blue,
Mhm.
and then you can cast a 4/4 flyer that does something like scrying
Yeah.
for 4
At the
mana.
beginning of your upkeep or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you're getting cut off your living end strategy, it's oh, that is definitely not right. You can still cast the card for a realistic mana base, and it's a solid card, or like a solid beater. Um, Whereas all the other ones were just big dumb creatures that you could really never cast.
Right.
Whenever you cycle or discard another card, scry one.
Yeah, which is amazing for that deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Yeah. As foretold, that's seen play in varying, weird, kind of cool decks. I've seen a little bit of it with the suspend cards, like Restore Balance.
Yeah.
Saw some gimmicky shit with that, or you can use Ancestral. I've used it with Ancestral Visions before, so I thought that was a pretty fun interaction.
As foretold, a card that was $15 and then went down to 15 cents with the reprint.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Nerfed into the ground.
Hieroglyphic Illuminations, I thought the power level on that card was way higher than people gave it credit for, and I thought it should see way more play than it did.
I agree. I loved it in just a blue white control list where I can save it as an instant speed interaction, and it can just be like a very very cheap cycling spell if I need it to.
Yeah.
Like the volatility of going between 1 and 4 mana, it made it a very nice card to play with.
The modes on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it for those. Let's hit the next Grand Prix. Death Shadow again. So they ban a card out of Death Shadow, and then it starts taking over the format.
This is closer to what I played. Yep, similar.
And like I said, this surprises me. I think the Goyf deck would be better against this, but
yeah,
maybe the mana base was just too rough.
Oh, you know what it might be? Like part of it might be that graveyard strategies are kind of getting nuked at this point, potentially. There's interaction with like Living End, Dredge coming out. Like the graveyard decks are getting stronger and stronger in this era.
Yeah, I'm gonna do more research on that one. Living End, still rocking the land destruction, but it is playing some of the new, at least one of the new cards. It hasn't switched to the mono blue deck.
Yeah,
that we get some cards in the next set from it, or the blue based cyclers.
Yeah,
Lantern Control, Storm, which is Storm
playing the 4 Baral, so definitely utilize that quite a bit. Placing 3rd and 4th here.
Oh, third or
fourth. Yeah.
I don't recognize any of these names. I
don't think I do either.
Devoted Druid. Is this our first appearance?
This is the first appearance of Devoted Druid Vizier Remedies combo in Modern.
Yeah, because it just came out.
Top 8. Yeah. Yep. So here it is. This is. Let me see. The deck cut Fiend Hunter went up on Eternal Witnesses. I think I went to 3 copies on those.
No Ronus.
I ran one Ronus for a little bit.
Never liked it.
But I didn't like it either. Tireless Trackers were almost always sideboard. I always kept those out. Always kept one Scoo's main board because I hated graveyard interaction. 4 chord, 4 Collected Company. Stock as hell.
I love this deck. Yeah. It's so much fun.
Yeah. 2 Nobles. Yep. I remember only needed 2. So I was happy about that. 'Cause birds were a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, you ran the Ronus as your mana sink instead of like a walking ballista.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which it quickly went to walking ballista after this deck became popular. It run 2 Gavany Townships. There's your backup.
There's your backup.
You need to get grindy. Gavany Township will win the game. I'll tell you what.
It's funny how in this list I scoff at it, but back with Birthing Pod, I'm like, that's the real fucking deal, man. That's the real game plan.
Yeah.
See, this is a weird. This is like one of the OG Death Shadow lists. Super aggressive. You're taking tons of damage off your lands. 2 Tribal Flames them out.
Mm-hmm.
Dredge is Dredge.
Yep.
And Valakut is Valakut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same stock list we've seen for a couple of years now.
Another tournament, same weekend.
Eldrazi aggro.
Again, I don't recognize any of these names. This is almost back to the original Eldrazi list with the white and the black.
Wasteland Stragglers, Tidehall Scholars is interesting. So this is because I remember that actually being part of the Druid list for a little bit. So we see some more hand interaction. Tidehall Scholars coming into play.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of this list.
Mm-hmm.
The Lingering Souls with Eldrazi, like I don't know what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. I guess at that time, Collective Brutality was just an amazing, like Lingering Souls, pitching Lingering Souls to Collective Brutality was a little bit of the thing. Everyone's playing Lingering Souls.
I love this mechanic when it came out. You're removing cards from your opponent's exile to do something. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of support for it, but I wish they would readdress it now with all these white cards running around in Modern.
Yeah, with exile effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you can deal with like they do Flicker Whisper type stuff where it exiles it until the end of turn, putting it into the graveyard from there.
Or it's
like if there was some fast interaction with that.
You're pulling from, I think, is it pull from reality or pull from dream something? Like you are rewarded for your opponent exiling your card. So it's counteracting some of that mono white removal and a lot of the exile effects now. Dredge, which version? Grixis. So already we're seeing that switch.
Yep.
I thought Traverse lasted longer than that. Eldrazi Tron. This is the Tron list I would be playing at this tournament. If I was playing a Tron list, I'd probably play Death Shadow.
Oh yeah, Blitz does a whole.
I didn't play enough Death Shadow back then. I really didn't. These decks. This is what really I was curious about.
Glory Bound Initiate. What? Is it attacks when you do? Okay, so it was a 4/4 for 2.
When you exert it,
yeah,
you're getting a stun counter on that bad boy.
Yup.
And then this card. And they couldn't be bothered with
you draw 3 cards.
Ancestral Visions.
Yep.
So they're losing 3 life to do the same thing.
They're also playing Batterskull.
This deck's just all over the fucking place. I don't know. Two of them made top. Okay, never mind.
No, this is a real necklace.
This isn't what I'd play, baby.
This is American Control with Spellquellers.
I think I designed this deck. I think this guy stole one of my deck lists from like a PPTQ or something, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm running."
Look how beautiful and clean cut this is. 4 of. All everything but the land base is all 4 ofs.
This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Gorgeous. 4 Celestial Colonnades.
Love it.
4 Spellquellers. 4 Snapcaster Mages.
4 Electrolyzes.
Holy shit.
I need to meet this person.
Ryochi Tamada.
Tell my girlfriend she's out of here. I've got a new love.
Ryochi Tamada.
Here's Grand Prix Las Vegas.
Oh boy, 2017.
Bangers.
Affinity got 3 of these
Craig
lists.
Wesco is the only name I recognize. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think that's...
See, Hate Bears.
Oh, this is first time we see Vile, or more Vile in Hate Bears lists.
Oh, I was gonna say
There were some
Vile-less
ones.
3-band Inspector.
Mm-hmm. 4 Thalias. I mean, the 3-band Inspectors are a little weird, especially in a deck that wants to be like more Texas heavy. Obviously, Gibbard took that slot in the future lists.
I just you almost have to be on the play for this deck to do anything with Leon and Arbiter and Thalia.
Yeah.
Or in Ether Vials, yeah. I don't understand how it did this well.
Welcome, Michael.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
We're checking out 2017. I think we're in... What month is this?
We are in June.
June? Yeah.
And a lot of the decks we're seeing this year are Death Shadow. Big year for Death Shadow. Dredge is kind of getting up there.
Sinal Drazitron starting to exist.
Yes, big one.
Saw first instance of Devoted Druid Collecting Company, which I was excited for. So,
here's one for a friend, Austin Subway.
Ooh, the turns deck, taking turns.
He played the shit out of this deck. He had this modern deck built forever.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Time Warp, Temporal Mastery.
Now
all the good stuff.
Now we play taking turns, but in a different, just with 5 colors and Bring to Light and other shit.
Mm-hmm. Ult my Renin 6, retrace my Time Warp over and over again.
I'm having fun. So that was Vegas.
Fun? I'm having fun.
I wouldn't have guessed that for the Vegas top 8, but Affinity just up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
One week they've got the sideboard hate in for you, the next week they don't, and then it just plays off of that. If you're always playing it, you're gonna be 50-50. You spike that one, you're gonna go 0-4 in that one. Spike that one, 0-4. At least that's what
sometimes Affinity wins, sometimes it loses.
Wins hard, loses hard. Let's go. Hour of Devastation, not a big set.
No.
I'll ask you again, what are the big bangers out of this one?
Hollow 1. That's it. Pretty much.
A Braid. I put a Braid in.
Okay. A Braid's good. I think Solemnity is pretty cool. That was an interesting card to put in. I think it was definitely some sideboard tech for certain decks, and can be still.
Very heavy potential for comboing.
Yeah. Scavenger Ruin, Scavenger Grounds. That's good. That's a good card. I like that card a lot.
Yeah, a Braid and Hollowed One are really the cards from the set. Other than that, it's just random jank people have played over the years. Mm-hmm. You think we're going to see Hollow One pop up this Grand Prix?
Oh, I expect it to. I kind of do. Like that. Oh.
No, you're wrong.
Damn.
There you go, Michael. There's a Boros Burn for you. First place.
They're playing Shrine of Burning Rage. 4 of them. I mean, it's not bad.
It costs 5 mana. Damn.
But you just slam it on 2 and then just let it sit there for 3 turns while you cast all your other spells, I guess.
They're playing it instead of Eidolon, the Great Rebels.
That seems wrong. Huh. Well, they got first place at a GP and I haven't. So.
Yeah, so we're idiots. The Rock. I think this is the switch from going and playing Abzan to just maybe we should just be playing black and green. Why the fuck are we splashing white?
Yeah.
And I remember going to this kind of build and doing way better with the deck.
Yeah. So you're cutting out the stuff like Lingering Souls for for Inquisition of Kozilek.
Yeah.
Which is way more interactive.
It was just cleaner and you didn't have to worry about mana bases as much. Just look at that. It's really clean. Did
Played
I?
enough, you can run Manlands.
Yeah.
How many decks can you run Manlands in Modern right now?
Zero.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an exception to that rule, but I
Yeah,
haven't
there's
played.
some control decks you can run Hall of Field or Hall of the Storm Giant,
Yes,
the
yeah,
blue
yeah.
one.
I've played that a little bit.
Yep.
Back to Devoted Druid with the Walking Ballista.
Yep. So this is a lot closer to the final list. You only needed one Viscera Seer to try to potentially get off your Kitchen Finks combo. The 4 Vizier, 4 Devoted Druid is pretty standard. 4 Birds, standard. 4 Duskrotch Recruiter is pretty cool.
For Eternal Witness.
Yep.
You're always getting that Coco back, baby.
Oh, yeah. Coco, Ewit, Devoted Druid, get back my cord, or get back my Coco.
I think this was closer to the list I played. I don't remember playing that many Viziers, but Walking Ballista, always getting Coco back. I
Yeah.
remember doing that. Just Eternal Witness, Coco, or Cord, just ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm. I think there was only one time that I cut the list down to 3 Viziers or Remedy. I think I almost always played 4
that
of each.
hard?
Yeah.
Okay. We just looked at that.
Mm-hmm.
Junk. Another kind of mid-range Jund list.
So it's like green black. Oh no, it's running white.
Lingering Souls,
Okay.
and it's higher mana. It's running Kalidas.
Yeah.
Corehelm.
Corahelm humans. Retreat to Corahelm. This is some nonsense with like, oh, looks like a birthing of humans. Here.
So this is one of the first human decks. I thought, from my memory, I of course I'm a fanboy of my friend Steve, but Steve Locke, he got first place at GP Phoenix with humans, something like that. It might be next year. And that's what I thought like really put it on the map. But I mean, somebody's top 8 with it. It's a mix between humans and retreat.
Yeah.
It's only running 2 caverns, so it's not.
It hasn't.
It hasn't reached its final form of that Steve Locke list.
They're starting to recognize there's a lot of counter synergy and stuff going on with humans here. With Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant specifically. Like, those are pretty huge ones. Play a lot into the sudden power spikes.
I remember
on the field.
giving away Champion of the Parishes because they were so worthless at one point. Regretted that heavily when humans really hit the field.
Yeah.
Grixis,
Death Shadow.
Lantern, man, I did not recall Lantern
doing
like almost every top 8. I thought it was like a one and done. It's a mean deck.
Sam Nelson on Valka down there. Simon Nelson.
Oh shit.
Simon Nelson.
Oh wow, yeah, that's Simon. He's won Worlds or the last Pro Tour with blue white like soldiers or something.
Interesting. The Brothers War and New Frix.
Magic World Champion. Reigning Magic World Champion.
Azorius Soldiers.
Yeah, that's him.
Wow.
Shit. We almost just painted over him.
Over his Valakut deck list. Running 1 Thragtusk and a Pia and Kieran Nalaar.
I played that card in Modern.
I have not. Actually, that's not true. I played it in Affinity once.
I played it in, I think, a Grixis control list. Go a little going wide strategy, and then you can get it back with K command and.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Oh, we finished both of those.
Nope.
No, we didn't do this one. Okay.
Retreat to Corehelm.
Still trying to get off the night combo. This is much more mid-rangey though. Spell Quellers and.
It's very heavy on the 3 mana slots and you Cocoing into
Yeah.
it. Which I mean, you're running the mana dorks to support, so you pretty much have to be playing a 1-drop, a mana dork on 1, or else you're never gonna win a game with this deck.
Mm-hmm. 2 Death Shadow lists. The overall very diverse meta, especially around this time. Like this is crazy that we're seeing deck lists like these topping GPs.
Yeah, you just don't see this shit anymore.
No.
You can't rely on a Birds of Paradise or a Noble Hierarch to pull you up to the next level on turn 2.
Oh, it's got to be Delighted Halfling. It needs 2 toughness.
Yes, yeah. We got Valakut playing some random janky
Rex Sage, Wood
one
Elves,
ofs.
Prismatic Omen.
3.
Yeah.
That's the most I think I've ever seen. Ever. Another card goes from like $40, $20 to
70 something cents.
70 cents.
Yep.
Thank God, because I needed them.
I picked that one when it was like $15 and I thought I was getting a steal.
You got wrecked, dude.
Yeah.
What's it like to lose on stonks? Urzatron, the mono green with World Breaker.
Yep. Visualist, the Order Druid Company. Here it is. This one's running a Ronus and a Walking Ballista.
Yeah, I was very one or the other, and I was always Walking Ballista.
Yeah.
Because I really like Renegade Rallier. A big fan. I was a big fan of Renegade Rallier.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever used that combo in that deck list. The Renegade Rallier one. No, never played it.
It's another deck I would like to play. Snapcaster, Spell Quellers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good 8th place deck.
That one's an actual cool kind of mid-rangey deck. So.
Yeah. I was lagging out here. Let's hit Ixalan, our final set of the year. Not nothing.
Unclaimed territory.
Okay.
That's about it, I think.
So that and Kite Sail Freebooter is some of the cards that Steve needed for that deck to finally get that really solid shell.
Yep. Opt. Yep.
It's evergreen now. It's
Search for Azcanta saw quite a bit of play in like control decks for a while.
One of my favorite cards ever printed.
I really like that card.
I loved it in standard, not so much in modern. Never really, it wasn't justifiable in modern, but that card in standard was fucking so cool.
It's just it was such an awesome, fun, like just easy interaction. Didn't have a lot. It wasn't a huge power advantage, but like once you flip it and you start activating it, it was just amazing for your late game. It gave you so much opportunity for card advantage.
My friends were like, "Don't you want to play with a mono blue rampant growth? Like that gets you extra value." It's like, "Fuck yeah, man!" Like, when you put it in that frame is the earlier game, and then you hit that late game where it's just
I drop it, flip it,
you're gonna die.
Yeah,
you're not coming back from this one.
Yeah.
Sorcerer's Spyglass. That was one card. This was one of the first cards that it came out, and I was like, oh, shit, I gotta get my copies because it's like played. And then it got reprinted in a standard set, and now it's like uncommon. And I overtraded for those damn cards, and it just that card is one of the newer style of cards where it's just boom, 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 and then it's kind of worthless. So now on those types of cards, I just wait, and they go down to 50 cents at some point, and then I finally pull the trigger on them.
But, yeah, that one was one too. I was like, I had like probably a dozen copies of that card because I was like, this card's great. It'll probably play in some variety in the future, and then it was just like reprint Sorcerer's Spyglass, reprint, downgrade, reprint.
Take a bath. Last Grand Prix of the year, I had to go to a different website. I couldn't find this on MTG Top 8. Oopsies, what did I do here?
Scape Shift.
Seth Manfield.
Black Green Tron. Interesting.
I remember that.
Jeskai Breach.
Steve Rumid.
Oh.
He's a younger guy at the time. Corey Burkhart. God damn, Corey. I never remembered him playing this much Grixis Control. That's all he played. Did you know how to play any other deck? Like Star City, they would call like Brad Nelson the Jun guy is like compared to Corey and his fucking Grixis Control deck.
Yeah.
None of you guys deserve to have a deck named or like attached to your name. He can only place with this. And I didn't know he placed this many.
Look,
This
he's
many.
running 2 search for his contests too.
Oh yeah, any new control, he's playing the spice every time, dude.
Yeah, yeah, love it. I
He's
love this list, honestly.
remember earlier he was like the first person to do well with ancestral visions. But jeez, god damn, just cool, sexy list.
Mm.
A lot of cards have been outclassed lately.
4 Kolaghan's commands. That tells you how good that card is right now. Yeah, yeah, A1 card for sure.
4 and 4.
Yeah, 4 cryptics, 4 Kolaghan's commands.
Yeah.
You wanted options. You had options.
Fatal push. Oh yeah, fatal push is new as well.
Yep. Lightning bolt.
We overlooked that. You haven't seen much of it. We've seen it in some of the Jund lists, but we kind of overlooked it because it just fits so well.
I don't even know if we saw it in those Grixis Shadow lists.
Okay, we gotta go back here a little bit. Let's go. Wait. So
Down
Ether.
further.
We'll hit.
Past Amonkhet.
We'll hit Vancouver because this is.
There's someone in the terminal.
There's 3 here.
Oh, yep.
3
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
these guys know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh, 100%.
Sam Black's only running 1, but I mean, this is a good.
He's
group
got
of
3
guys.
in the sideboard, though. So.
Okay. Yeah, they knew it was the real deal.
Yeah.
The hype lived. So scape shift. That's out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Dredge. I want to see this deck again.
Running Fatal Push. They're
That's
just running Fatal Push and Collective Brutality and Ravenous Trap, I guess. I remember that when that was a good card.
Blooming Marsh. I don't. Come on, Seth. What were you doing,
this
bro?
is a tiny bit silly. But
Yeah.
I guess they're splashing for the Fatal Push and the Collective Brutalities, but I don't think that's.
I love
worth
Seth.
it.
I love. Have I brought up Seth Manfield and like my love for him?
Please express it for us.
Well, so he like from my perspective, I could be wrong on this. He's like a lone wolf. Like he play tests. He's in it his career to win at Magic games.
Yeah.
And I like he wrote for like maybe TCG Player or whatever, but it wasn't one of the it wasn't Channel Fireball, it wasn't Star City, the big ones that like I actually read.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of just whatever TCG Player.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't in those like clicks. He's a lone wolf.
Oh yeah.
And so you'd see him fucking grinding it out. And he was like innocuous because he's not one of those big Channel Fireball stars. He doesn't have a bunch of friends promoting him.
He's just the guy playing Magic.
He's just like, yeah, you guys have your team and like 2 of your teammates top 8, but I fucking top 8 every goddamn Grand Prix I go to. And not this isn't like an attack or a comment against him, but I think he gets like super nervous too, which trust me, I'd be way more fucking nervous.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him at all. But it's just like I enjoy seeing him win and do well because it's just like he's almost all in my eyes he's the underdog. Mm-hmm. And he's just like it always feels like he needs it more. Like he's like, I have to fucking top 8 this tournament or else like I lose my house. my wife will leave me if I don't top 8 this tournament, for God's sake. Or it's like,
honey, why aren't you playing Magic? Get your ass to it. This guy Breach. Oh, this is just the Through the Breach, like played against us several times, especially in the years following. You do see some of like Through the Breach, Emrakul, round a control shell like this popping up pretty often.
Yeah, man. You remember Jeskai Ascendancy? It's kind of like a Jeskai Ascendancy list, but instead of Jeskai Ascendancy, now we're playing fucking Emrakul and Through the Breach, which have no utility outside of you have to have both of them.
Yeah.
I hated this build.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, you have 8 dead cards in your deck. You were playing with 8 slots that just do nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless you want to Through the Breach to Snapcaster Mage.
Get at me. And fucking shit, maybe I
Hot
should have
tag,
played more of this
Lucas.
fucking garbage deck.
Hot tag. You want to pay 5 for your Snapcaster Mage instead of 2?
Oh,
That
nice.
sorcery speed.
Nice Search for its Canta fucking trigger. You want to flip that Search for its Canta? You have an Emrakul on top. Shuffle that shit. You just went back 7 fucking turns. Good game. I guess I'm gonna keep this dead card on the top of my library and draw it.
Draw it and wait for my Through the Breach to come my way. No Through the Breach.
How the fuck did that get 5th at a Grand Prix?
Because if you pay 5 mana for an Emrakul, sometimes you win.
He must have been. That guy had to have been fucking cheating. I don't get it. 8 dead cards in your deck.
Yeah.
What?
No, I don't.
It with
think it's a good deck
Nambos.
list either.
Where were we?
Well, that was it. I think
That was Grand Prix.
Oklahoma City.
And then we got the questions. Best deck of the year, Andrew.
I think it's Death Shadow.
I second that motion.
Yep.
What's your favorite version? Or what do you think is the best version? Objectively, the best version.
Objectively, I think it is the Grixis build. I think it's better. Just the access to the different card access you have to, like Snapcaster Mage, your Snaps, Lightning Bolts, Terminate, Kolaghan's Command. Cards like that have the red splash. It's just super effective in the deck. You want to be aggro. You want to be on the offensive. You're trying to put pressure on your opponents. And the green variant just feels like I'm sitting behind my mid-range wall and building up my crew to attack you.
Fair.
So with like the Traverse, you have to get Delirium online. So you're focusing more on your graveyard than you are on killing your opponents. So yeah.
No, you're right. I just look at that Termagoyf and I'm like, the Termagoyf clips everything except for the Death Shadow.
Yeah.
But you're waiting a long time to get everything online.
And with like
and then the card advantage with the Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Gurmags too. It's like the Gurmags are just a one shot. Like I'm just gonna erase my graveyard and put the Gurmag into play. And I found that way more utilitarian than having to worry about keeping my Tarmogoyfs online constantly. Because it's like sometimes your opponent does have the graveyard interaction, and then Goyf is a 0/1.
I guess if you're Gurmogging your graveyard away, and they have the Termagoyf, they're semi-reliant on your graveyard.
That too.
But you have a few Nambos with your Kolaghan's commands, and your Snapcaster Mages really seeing their full value with Gurmag Anglers.
Yeah.
The game goes long enough, you're going to get that value back.
But I think with the card advantage and the selection of that deck, with like all the 1-drop spells and especially Thought Scourers, Thought Scourers are like, if you have one of those in your opening hand with, say, like a Thoughtseize and then some sort of creature interaction, like Gurmag, you're set. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna fetch shock, Thoughtseize you, Thought Scour next turn, fetch again, and then dump a Gurmag on turn 2 or turn 3. But yeah, I think that you can kind of play around. Like I definitely have had games like that before where I play around the Delirium. You can. I feel like the selection of cards is high enough that you can kind of avoid those Nambos with the Kolaghan's Command and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, the Grixis Shadow, I think that's the list this year.
That's the deck of the year.
Yeah.
Best card entering the format. This should be an easy one. You just gotta recall it. First card we talk about.
Fatal Push.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best card.
But yeah, actually.
Overall, in a vacuum, 100% of the best card. Well, in the vacuum, it doesn't do anything.
No, definitely best card of the year to enter the format. I think it definitely really just shook the format hard because you see all these different decks kind of changing up to avoid or change around. There's just a lot of kind of movement in the format, and nothing really seems to emerge as super dominant. Like Death Shadow was pretty on top for the most part, but like it's not, getting 5 placements in the top 8.
Yeah.
So
we didn't see any deck go 3 in a top. Oh no, Death Shadow did get 3 right away after a fucking ban hit.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I both those answers so far I agree with that.
The devoted druid deck. So
Yes.
I think it warps around enough towards the combo eventually that's the start of a new deck where you have like the birthing pod deck, and that kind of snaps off into its own, like it, it kind of peters off a little bit, and then Devoted Druid comes into play, and all right, here's its whole formation of iterations that it goes through. So
Uh, my answer, that would be my answer.
mhm.
Two decks that I believe fully exist now, but just haven't showed up in any of the Grand Prix. KCI think is complete.
Yeah, there's
It
no
was
other.
waiting for scrap or crap trawl scrap trawler.
Yep.
That could exist with just that and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then hollowed one.
Oh
Those two decks we haven't seen, but those are two extremely game breaking decks
Mm-hmm.
that all both got cards banned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You could also put Mardu Pyromancer can exist at this point in time too. I think.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
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 Bedlam Reveler is a big one. They're like a newer card. Faithful City exists.
Yeah. I think almost everything from that deck list exists. But yeah, there's tons of decks that are just kind of like, people need to sift through the cards and get to them. So, but yeah, there's a lot going on in this point in the format in Modern. I really think that this, I guess that kind of brings me to the next question then. Like, health of the format wise, I think this is a very healthy format for Modern to be in.
Yes. The decks that are other than Death Shadow, the decks that there's some decks in the format that are not healthy that exist long term.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is Lantern Control. The fact that that's still popping up pretty consistently,
Mm-hmm.
meh, not great. It's okay, like, but other than that, Dredge rears its ugly head every so often, but it's like Affinity. If you put the sideboard hate in,
Yep.
you're gonna get rewarded.
Yep.
The fact that Mardu Pyromancer can exist in a format could have been in this format. Super healthy.
Yeah.
Grixis Shadow, not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
The only thing that really makes it super toxic is those Teamer Battle Rage wins, where it's like, oh, now it has Trample and fucking Double Strike out of nowhere is pretty brutal.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I mean, there is the downside too of like, there are interactions where you can get blown out on those too, where you're going down to like almost 4-3-2 life to try to knock out your opponent, and they're like, I got the path. I'm just gonna path it, and then I'm gonna crack you back and kill you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, all right, well.
I haven't seen much of that version of that gameplay, but
yeah.
it's usually oh yeah, okay, you had it. I'm just dead.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think of like score wise? Given the health, like an 8
is where I'm at.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. There is a little bit of degeneracy lurking around, but nothing like, there's no one's found the Hogak that we're chasing down right now. There's no like deck list that's predominant across the entire format.
Yeah, I think there's an objective best deck, but you don't see everybody running to have to play it either. So
yeah, the allowance of having a huge variety is really, really nice to see.
And within the year, there are 3 versions of that deck that top aided. You have the OG Zoo style, you have the Grixis card advantage, and then you have the Traverse.
Yep.
And we kind of covered all those versions.
Yep.
I've already kind of covered this, but I'm sorry. The Why Are You Playing That Card award. Was there a card that popped up that we were like, God, why the fuck are you playing that? Yeah, there was one.
There was. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what it was. Oh God, what was it?
Through the
Breach. Yeah.
Through the Breach at Merkle. That one, and I think there was another card.
Like something in was it in the Scape Shift? One of the Scape Shift decks? I can't remember.
That sounds familiar.
They were playing like two one-ofs or something, and that's I don't know. I remember seeing a Pia and Kieran Alar in Escape Shift deck.
That's not that crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's still like, what the fuck?
No, I mean, yeah, that's Through the Bridge is the big one. I think.
Yeah. Can you think of any other awards that we should start giving out? The best burn match, the best win percentage against burn deck.
The best anti-burn.
Yeah.
Who has the most burn tech sideboard?
The Michael Semino, the anti-Michael Semino award.
Yeah. How much burn tech do you have in your sideboard? How much are you afraid of burn? Could do. Oh, I think I built that deck list. I think I built that deck list.
Dude, I've done that for all of these fucking decks, except Tron. I have never.
Yeah.
I've never put a classic like green Tron deck together. I've done mono blue Tron and blue white Tron, like LSV's original list.
Yep.
I actually did okay with both of those, but other than that, I put all of these decks together.
I was gonna say, I think I have done the math and like looked through all my cards and figured out, okay, I have the full 75 of Tron. Never put it together, and then eventually I got rid of like a couple Wormcoil engines or something, and I'm like, oh, I don't own the full pieces anymore. Can't build it.
That was me, but with Karn Liberated.
Oh yeah.
I've gone through 4 play sets of that fucking card.
Oh, I know. I gave you some.
Yeah.
I gave you some for a Nintendo Switch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I regret it. Well, not much more.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Next week,
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
So we're gonna skip next week, and we'll reconvene on the week after that.
I think it's the 7th. I want to say the 7th or something like that. So,
Oh damn.
yeah.
Let's see here quick.
2 weeks out.
30th.
30th. Okay.
So we'll see you on the 30th. Thanks for joining us, and yeah.
I think we'll be
Think so.
streaming Monday, right? Too are we gonna stream? Are we doing anything Monday or?
Yeah, I'm sure. I just don't know what we're gonna do yet.
Yeah,
We kind of decide on that Monday what we're gonna do.
Sure.
There's a good table set up. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tony's got the train table set up.
Yep, we're doing the railroad crossing, so that will be actually. I'm looking forward to that. That should be a good big stream.
That map is fucking awesome.
It's very, very cool.
Yes.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to play that. So.
All right. Peace out, everyone.
Goodbye.